29 in his book entitled A Survey of the Old Testament. He states, quote, "The Bible must sit in judgment upon man. Man can never sit in judgment upon the Bible," unquote. The obvious mistake underlying these defenses is that they are assuming, rather than proving, the very point in dispute. They are assuming the book is infallible, despite the fact that an overwhelming amount of evidence shows exactly the opposite is true. And until infallibility is demonstrated, one should feel no hesitation about criticizing the Bible. If indeed the book was infallible, then yes, they would have a case, since fallible men would hardly be justified in criticizing an infallible book. But since the book is light years from infallibility, restraint is unnecessary. We are not going to refrain from criticizing the book simply because infallibility is attributed to it by fallible believers. Apologists have to prove inerrancy, and that they are incapable of doing. If we don't sit in judgment upon the Bible, then we are conceding the battle before the encounter begins. I would have taken leave of my senses if I were to concede in any way that the Bible is infallible. Until they prove it, and that they can't do, that can't be done, we are free to judge it. And any fair observer would have to concede that it should be judged very critically in light of its many shortcomings. In summation, we have covered the entire question of whether or not inerrancy is important to a sufficient degree. If someone's not convinced by now, I'm not sure what would be required. Inerrancy is extremely important with reference to the Bible. Those who say we are too concerned with petty details, those who say biblical errors, contradictions, and fallacies are relatively unimportant, those who say it's the overall biblical message that matters are only fooling themselves. Details and specifics are the very nuts and bolts of a lawyer's case. There can be no overall reliable biblical message of divine origin in a book plagued by errors, contradictions, and fallacies. You can't judge the soundness of a building without critically analyzing the strength, reliability, composition, durability, and arrangement of the bricks, mortar, cement, boards, nails, and other primary components of its construction. And that's no less true of the Bible. It's only as strong as its weakest link. And weak links are something with which the Bible is bountifully endowed. Those who believe otherwise are living under delusions of grandeur in a world divorced from reality. That's the bottom line. That completes our presentation, and please join us later for the 19th edition of Biblical Errancy Commentary, when we'll continue showing why the Bible is nothing more than the flawed composition of some fallible human beings. Thank you for listening.